Caravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on the Pathfinder role-playing game system. Well, where we last left off, we were talking about special abilities in order to clean out the book. Now today I'm going to only talk about two, and one of them is Invisibility. Now you're going to say, why are you talking about Invisibility so much? Well, at some point in time, more than likely, either you as a player are going to go invisible, or some kind of creature or enemy are. Invisibility is a favorite tactic of anything that can pretty much cast it and has the ability to cast it and is at the level to cast it. So yes, invisibility is very important to talk about. So, you're invisible, you can't be seen. That's not the only way to detect things. You can still hear something that's invisible, you can still, well, touch it, you can still smell it. Invisibility only blocks vision, and it blocks all types of vision. Your dark vision, your low light vision, it won't detect that invisible thing. It's still there being invisible. Now, invisible creatures, they can be criticaled. It doesn't protect them against critical hits. You can still be hit in the head, but it will protect you against precision damage, like sneak attack or the abilities of a ranger with its favorite enemy. The fact is that they can't target those precision spots to get that extra damage. Now, if I'm going around and invisible creatures within 30 feet, I might detect it. I get a DC 20 perception check to notice that, something's odd here. I think there's an invisible creature near me. I can possibly kind of get a feeling something's off. Pinpointing that exact location, that can be difficult. That's nearly impossible. Increase the DC by 20. That's a 40 DC to determine where exactly that invisible creature is around me, that I'm just not noticing it. Now, there are modifications that if the invisible creature is doing certain things, will affect this check, make it either easier or more difficult, but the fact is it's still really difficult to tell exactly where an invisible creature is just by oh, I heard where it's at. I heard its exact square? Yeah, kind of insane. Now, I can choose to feel around for an invisible creature. As a standard action, I can feel 2 squares next to me. Now, this means, okay, I'm groping around for an invisible creature. I have to make a touch attack against the invisible creature in these areas. Well, it still has the miss chance. So that means even if I'm trying it, I still might hit that miss chance and still miss touching the invisible creature in the squares that I'm guessing it could be in. This touch, if it does successfully touch, it doesn't do any damage. I've just been like, oh, there's something here. Now, unfortunately, this lasts until it moves. As soon as it moves, it's gone. It's gone from my vision. I don't know where it is. I might be able to call out it's right in front of me to all my friends, but that's the best I can do. More than likely, it's going to move before I will get to do something too. Now, the other way is to, get hit by an invisible creature. If an invisible creature smacks me, I know where it's at. I know where it hit me from. So I can target it back until it moves. Now, there is a disadvantage to this. If that target has some kind of reach, whether natural reach, if it's really big and mean, or if it's got some kind of reach weapon, I only know the general direction. I don't know its exact location. I still have to guess where this attack is coming from. I'm not 100% sure where I'm getting smacked from. So that does have a disadvantage there. Now, sometimes I might want to just randomly guess where it's at and try an attack roll. Hey, I can do that. Yeah! The fact is, when I'm doing this, regardless if I've chosen the correct spot or not, my game master will roll the miss chance. They will go, whoop, okay, you missed it. That's the only thing, is if I chose the wrong square, they're just going to automatically say, yeah, you missed it. But they'll roll, because that won't tell me if I chose the right spot or the wrong spot. I don't know if I have or not. That's why you will roll every time if I'm trying to smack an invisible creature and attacking everywhere. Now, when an invisible creature goes invisible, everything it has with it goes invisible with it. Now, I might want to, as an invisible creature, pick up something. Guess what? It's visible. If I pick up a jar or a weapon or something, it's visible. It's a big bell of where I'm at, generally speaking. He's over there. Now, this doesn't mean I can't hide this visible thing and make it disappear. If I put it in under my clothes or I conceal it some way on my body, guess what? Not being able to see it as if it was hidden in real life, it will be hidden invisibly. My invisible cloth I'm covering it will make it disappear. Or if I've got like a cape on me, I could hold on to the cape, take it off, cover it over in a cape, and basically like make something seem invisible too, because I'm putting something invisible that's invisible as long as it's in contact on top of it. So you can see what it is my invisibility can make things disappear still. I have to use myself in a way, and I have to cover it with my invisibility. Meaning I have to cover it with whatever's on me or myself in a way. Just looking through me, it will be visible. If it's in between two layers of invisibility, then it is invisible. Now, invisible creatures, they leave tracks. They can be tracked. Especially if you're in things like sand or snow, then it's pretty easy to track where they're at because they leave footprints. You will do that. Also, when you're moving through water and you're invisible, you will displace the water. You're also quite noticeable. Scent. If I have a creature with scent, or a creature with scent, well, then that works just as normal as someone that's visible or invisible. No effect whatsoever to that. If I have blind fight, well, I get to roll twice to hit you if I have well identified the correct square. Or as an alternate. This is an alternate rule you can choose to use. A game master could say then instead, oh, you just have a 25% miss chance, instead of roll twice for the 50% miss chance. Blind sight, well, I can instantly identify what square they're in. They still get the miss chance. Still the miss chance with blind sight. I just know what square they're in automatically. If I have a light source and I go invisible, the light source is invisible, the light is not. So you can get unusual light artifacts from an invisible source that might help you identify where it's coming from, but you're still might, it's like, oh, it's somewhere in here giving off light. That's kind of odd. The invisible light source, if you're in a really large dark room, I mean, it's much more noticeable then. If you're in some more confined area where the light will be bouncing off a lot of stuff and therefore, harder to pinpoint, then yeah, but, invisible light sources, source invisible, but the light itself, no. Now let's talk about ethereal creatures, because this is related to being invisible, because they are considered invisible. The thing about ethereal creatures is the only way you can detect them is with perception checks. All these sort of alternate little other ways I was talking about, maybe noticing an ethereal creature, doesn't work on them. All the other ways, does not find them, because they are on like another plane of existence. I can still perception to notice them, but things like scent and other abilities don't work. Invisibility doesn't prevent divination against you, doesn't protect you. And if I'm invisible and have a gaze attack, doesn't work. Why would it work? I can't look into something's eyes to gaze at them because my eyes are invisible. And the last thing I want to say about invisibility is that there are some creatures that can just naturally detect invisible creatures. Whether through some kind of magic or extraordinary ability, they will automatically detect you as being invisible and being right there. And it will be under that creature's description. But let's move on and talk about the last thing I want to talk about today, low light vision. Let's just quickly cover that. Low light vision effectively allows you to see twice as far in dim light. It means that if you're, let's say, trying to read some kind of scroll or book in the dark, and you only have a kind of flickering tiny candle that's far away, then if you have low light vision, you're fine. Or if you're in a big, like, moonlit night, where it's all kind of bright out, you can see just as fine as if it was day out, because you're seeing twice as good with the less light. In the next episode, hopefully, we'll finish up the special abilities. There's only a few left we want to talk about, and handling invisibility and all its insaneness, and the fact that it will come up in one of your games at some point in time, whether it's you or a monster. We handled it. We handled invisibility, and we handled low light vision. We'll finish it up in the next episode, and we'll be able to finish up the Pathfinder book. But if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It shows you for the channel, the empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you can actually check out my Patreon. Link in the description below. There's some great rewards there. Helps to grow and improve the channel and the empire. Regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.